Hello. It is time to read Obscure Unsolved Mysteries. I need some spooky music. Let me go get some. 1 second. Alright. I have the spooky music. It is time to read through these mysteries. So if there's one thing I like doing, it is watching some spooky videos about some spooky things, like unsolved mysteries from BuzzFeed or other channels like Nexpo, Let Me Know, Rainbot, Lazy Masquerade, those kind of people. I don't know if you have ever seen those YouTubers. So today I'm gonna be doing a little bit of investigating on my own. And I found this little website here that has a bunch of obscure unsolved mysteries for us to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and look through those. Alright, where's my tab? Here it is. Okay, so let's start looking through some of these, and we're gonna be rating the ones that we look through out of 10, or that's too many. Out of 5 spookies. So let's see. And they're very nicely color coordinated, these, for us as well. So let's see. What's Stickman? A house where sticks are laid out in intricate patterns on the front lawn every day. Alright, let's look up Stickman. Okay, that didn't help. Stickman. Unsolved mysteries. I don't want to click on the wrong websites. Oh, maybe I can just click this. Alright, let's see. My town has a local legend named Stickman. He is a very tall, very skinny elderly gentleman who has spent a few hours every single day since at least the 80s meticulously arranging sticks on his front lawn. No one in town knows why. I asked him why, but his answer was cryptic and only made me more curious as to why he does it. His response to my question, "Why do you arrange the sticks like this?" There really isn't any explanation for it. It just is. In 2022, they won't be there. One person said it was an Indian burial ground. Listen, this tree has been scratched up so much. Sigh. The best way to describe it is, it just is. Here's an old photo of his front lawn, taken by Google Earth years ago. Nothing identifiable. Let's take a look. Let me zoom in a little bit. Can I see any stickmen? I mean, I see a lot of sticks, but I'm not really seeing any stick men. Let's keep reading. Notice the sticks perfectly arranged into a sort of language or text. Well, it's not really stickman, is it? Or maybe the guy who lives in the house, maybe he's the stickman. I was imagining like just a stickman made of sticks. Maybe he's like talking to aliens or something. Let's see. The photo is from 5 years ago. The current Google Earth image of his front lawn has sticks in a completely different arrangement. When I asked him about the sticks, he was out front of his house with a bunch of small sticks in one hand and a pair of garden clippers in the other. Oh, wait, I need more spooky music. Can I loop this? I might just have to keep clicking through. Some more spooky music. Let's see. When I asked him about the sticks, he was out front of his house with a bunch of small sticks in one hand and a pair of garden clippers in his other, and he was staring with intense focus on clipping the small sticks just right. He was clipping them very rapidly, and after I asked him about the question, he looked up at me and responded, but he never stopped clipping. IMO, the guy has a very specific reason for the sticks, but after so many years of people thinking he was just crazy, he doesn't bother with explaining his reasoning. He just answers with, "It just is what it is," so he isn't hassled. I mean, pretty good answer. It just is what it is. His response to me has some clues. Why ain't the sticks gonna be there in 2022? I mean, it's 2025 now. I mean, it's not like the world ended or anything. What did he mean by the tree being scratched so many times? Who told him it was an Indian burial ground? Is it actually an Indian burial ground? Stickman is also ironically known for eating meals that could feed a family of 6. Me and my friends have seen him at various times when we were younger, eating at a booth in our local pizza place. He'd sit in a booth because all the food he ordered wouldn't fit on a normal table. A typical order would be something like a cheesesteak, 3 slices of pizza, spaghetti, meatballs, a salad, mozzarella sticks, an order of fries, an Italian hoagie, and then he would eat all of it within 15 minutes. I mean, that's kind of impressive. Maybe he should just be like a food fighter or something. Competitive eater. Does anyone have any ideas as to why he meticulously arranges sticks on his front lawn every day for the past 40 years? I appreciate any and all help you can provide. I'll try to talk to him again and will ask him any interesting questions people have. Maybe he is dying and thus knows he won't be there, so this will stop in 2022. Oh, that's kind of sad. There was an older black lady in my town that would break grass or weeds. She also picked up trash every day. She kept the town beautiful. City council wanted to put her away somewhere. We, the people, asked the town how much trash they had picked up. Everything went silent. Someone said instead of putting her away, she should be on the damn payroll. She finally passed. The town hasn't been as clean as since. Well, this guy's kind of doing the opposite. He's kind of putting sticks in his yard. Well, this isn't very spooky, but it is kind of mysterious. So I'm gonna give this one a 2 spooky out of 5. Next mystery. Alright, let's go for maybe a cryptid. Fern flowers. We got a Wikipedia link. The fern flower is a magic flower. I need some more spooky music. Come on, play. Oh, there we go. The fern flower is a magic flower in Baltic mythology. In Estonian mythology, hold on. And in Slavic mythology. According to the myth, this flower blooms for a very short time on the eve of the summer solstice. I just had an idea. There we go. Much better. Dark mode's nice. It brings fortune to the person who finds it. In some tales, it allows humans to understand animal speech. It is closely guarded by evil spirits, and though the one who succeeds in gathering it can receive earthly riches, that attainment has always brought ill luck, so some leave it alone. It's a painting of someone looking for the fern flower, I guess. Is that the fern flower? It's a very long flower. Very tall flower. Let's see. I'll guess some more spooky stuff about it. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not very spooky. Is it more spooky or less spooky than the Stickman? I'm gonna give this one a 1 spooky. Next. Conspiracy theory. Let's see. The Roman Empire never existed. Let's see. This might be a good website about it. Too much words. Did it have a link? Maybe this. Okay, this doesn't seem too long. Let's see. All right. So I'll read from here. So a TikTok user @momlennial, a history TikToker who's prone to controversy on the video sharing app, is trying to convince users that ancient Rome never existed. Per the Daily Dot, Per the Daily Dot, @momlennial has a history of sharing heretical historical theories, like Alexander the Great was a lady, and Jesus Christ's name can be translated as clitoris healer. Really wish that one was true though. Recently, she has been sharing a theory that the Roman Empire was not real. Among the claims is that Hadrian's Wall, a former defensive fort of the Roman province of Britannia that stretches 73 miles in northern England, can't be proven to be of Roman construction, and that it's actually a road, not a wall. That and the Roman Empire is a figment of the Spanish Inquisition's imagination. Interesting. The theories stem from ideas that most ancient Roman archaeological sites are inscribed in Greek, and that there isn't a single Roman document in existence. Wouldn't it be like Latin? They don't really speak Roman, I don't think. They spoke Latin. The Bible is in Latin even. Well, I've had enough of this, honestly. 1 spooky. Just some crazy person on TikTok. That was not a very interesting conspiracy theory. We can do better than that. Let's see. let's do the Grand Canyon Stranger. Oh, unnoticed, an unidentified man in Grand Canyon photo. Let's take a little closer look. I just tried to zoom in, it didn't really work that well. Oh, my uncle standing on the edge of the cliff claims he did not know the man in black, that he was not there when the picture was taken. Unsettling stuff. I mean, he doesn't look very spooky, whoever that is. And when they say, like, in a cloak, a person in a cloak, did they say there was, like, a spooky person in a cloak? Where was it? Grand Canyon Stranger? I mean, that could be a hoodie, honestly. It could just be some person in the hoodie, and they're, like, trying to get a nice look at the Grand Canyon, and then they accidentally got in your photo. Not very spooky. One spooky, once again. You know, these unresolved mysteries, not very spooky so far. Maybe we can scroll down a little bit and find some more spooky mysteries. Let's see. Lost creepypasta recently solved. Let's do camera heads. Let's see. Camera heads are said to be humans or human-like entities and have had a camera implanted into the inner nerves of their eyes, and as such, they are walking surveillance systems, although to what end is unknown. They are best known as the antagonists of an early creepypasta, which was subsequently lost. The pasta/ARG is partially found with the discovery of one of the associated YouTube videos, and the first post preserved on the Xenopedia wiki. Does anyone remember camera heads? Does anyone have the camera head pasta? Thank you. They are described to be similar in Slenderman behavior, stalking their victims with a vague, malefic intent. Supposedly, camera heads predate Slenderman, although no mention of them exists before 2009. In some recollections, the camera heads appear outwardly human, perhaps even unwittingly serving as surveillance. In other accounts, the camera has formed the whole head. One recollection stated that they were biomechanical. You know what this kind of sounds like to me? Whoops. You know what this sounds like to me so far? Skibidi toilet. We have found the camera heads. The camera heads were here all along. With skibidi toilets. And with that, I will be giving this a 1 spooky. You know, this stuff has not been very spooky at all so far. I need some more spooky unsolved mysteries. Let's see. I already know about that. What's this one? Let's see. I don't want to watch any YouTube videos. What does the people and beings category even mean? Moon cube. China moon rover will investigate cube-shaped mystery object on the lunar far side. Is that a boulder or something else? The Yutu-2 rover is on a roll. It has been exploring the far side of the moon since 2019 as part of China's Chang'e 4 lunar lander mission. It now has its eyes set on a strange cube-shaped object it spotted in the distance. Andrew Jones, a journalist who covers the Chinese space program for Space News and Space.com, highlighted a new rover update in a series of tweets Friday. The nickname for the cube-shaped object translates to Mystery House. We have an update from YouTube 2 from the lunar far side, including an image of a cubic shape on the northern horizon, 80 meters away from the rover in Von Karman crater. Referred to as Mystery House, the next 2 to 3 lunar days will be spent getting closer to it to check it out. Let's see. That is something in the distance. Maybe it is a space house. When was this? This was posted in 2021. I wonder if we have a if we found out what it was. The rover team is planning to drive over and get a closer look at the object. As with U-22's intriguing discovery of a gel-like substance inside a crater in 2019, don't get too excited for aliens. Oh, they already found out. Oh no, that was something else that they found out. The substance turned out to be a glassy-looking rock, and as far as I know, Stanley Kubrick never planted a monolith on the real moon, and those metal sculptures that were once all the rage on Earth haven't made the trek across space. So let's Google it. Let's see if they found out. China moon rover moon cube. It's just a rock. Moon cube mystery. Chinese rover finds it's just a rock. A blurry image that China's space program had called the Mystery Hut as a result of camera angle, light, and shadow. It's just this. This is what they saw. It was just a rock. Not spooky, just rock. 1 spooky out of 5. Let's do Rosalia Lombardo. The mystery of Rosalia Lombardo, the blinking mummy who appears to open her eyes. Not only did a secret formula allow Rosalia Lombardo to become one of Earth's best preserved mummies, but many even claim that she can open her eyes. I mean, that's a very well preserved mummy. The mummy of Rosalia Lombardo in the Capuchin catacombs beneath Palermo, Sicily. In the depths of an obscure catacomb in Sicily, a young girl lies in a glass-topped casket. Her name is Rosalia Lombardo, and she died of pneumonia caused by the Spanish flu just 1 week shy of her 2nd birthday in 1920. Her father was so grief-stricken that he sought the aid of an embalmer and taxidermist to preserve his child. The embalmer, a renowned Sicilian professor of preservation named Alfredo Salafia, then mummified Rosalia Lombardo so perfectly that her internal organs are still intact a century later. Indeed, it is difficult to gaze upon the tiny body in the glass coffin and not believe that she will awaken at any moment. Her skin is still smooth as porcelain, and her golden hair is neatly tied back with a large silk bow, and most hauntingly, her crystal blue irises are visible underneath her blonde eyelashes. The facet of her preservation has led her to becoming known as the Blinking Mummy, because some people swear that Rosalia Lombardo's eyes still open and close throughout the day. Why Rosalia Lombardo's eyes appear to open? Rosalia Lombardo's eyes have fueled Sicilian lore for the past 100 years. She is one of 8,000 mummies in the catacombs underneath the Capuchin convent in Palermo, Sicily. And of the 1,000 of visitors who flock to see the blonde-haired girl, many report witnessing her eyes slowly open. In fact, a video composite of us several time of several time-lapse photographs appear to reveal Lombardo opening her eyes by a fraction of an inch. Oh, here's the answer. It's an optical illusion produced by the light that filters through the side windows, which during the day is subject to change, he said in his statement. And Piombino Mascali made the discovery that when he noticed that workers at the museum had moved the mummy's case, which caused her to shift slightly and allowed him to see her eyelids better than before. They are not completely closed, and they indeed have never been. So, when the light changes and hits her eyes at different angles, it can appear as though the eyes are opening. So it is not a live mummy. I mean, I can kind of see them like looking at me right now. Kind of. Next one. One spooky. Let's go down again. Let's find more spookiness. This one sounds pretty spooky. The Spine Collector. Oh, book spines. That's not very spooky. We're going back. Strange folk, not obvious. Hovering bell gnome. Alright, maybe this one. Strange folk, not obviously human. This happened a few years ago. The subway system had extended its line into Plymouth, a town only 25 miles from where I was living on the Cape. And since I wanted to attend an event in Boston a friend of mine was participating in, I decided it would be a good idea to try this new route out. It was a Sunday, and my then boyfriend and I arrived at the deserted terminal to wait for the train. Suddenly, this young man appeared. I mean that literally. We had been looking at the poster of the T route and turned around and he was just there. He had dark hair and eyes, fair skin that was heavily tattooed, and a few scattered facial piercings. He looked like he had just woken up 11 a.m. I immediately got a Fae vibe off of him, which usually means I'm in for an unusual experience. My boyfriend got all puffed up and defensive. The stranger asked if we were going to Boston. I said yes, and he remarked that the trains don't run on the regular schedule on Sunday. How very nice of him. The wait would be another 2 hours for the next train to come by. Well, that info, that I should have known, blew the timetable we had for Boston outing, and disappointingly we decided it was not a go for that day. I thanked him for telling us about the delay, and as we turned to go, he asked if we could give him a ride to Plymouth. We were already in Plymouth. Before I could speak, my boyfriend got all huffy and protective and said no, we weren't heading that way. When we got back to the car, I looked back because my sense of the stranger was that he was not dangerous, and he was gone. I mean, we had only turned our back for a few steps it had taken to get back to the car. As we drove away, I cranked my head around to see where he might have headed. Nothing. The train stop was deserted, as when we first pulled up. That's when the hair bristled on the back of my neck and my forearms. And that only happens when I encounter a ghost. But that's quite spooky, but it was a nice ghost. So that's, it's not that spooky. Maybe a too spooky, because it could have been a ghost. But since it was a nice ghost, it was not very spooky. I like the idea, of nice ghosts. Oftentimes in like movies and scary stories, everyone's like, oh, ghosts are scary, but maybe half of them are nice, friendly ghosts, and they just want to, help you out and give you some good directions when you're like taking the train or something, Too spooky. Next, unsolved mystery. Let's look at the key again. Give me death and disappearance. The Mole Air Mystery. The Great Mole Air Mystery is the name given by the media to the disappearance of pilot Peter Gibbs on the 24th of December, 1975, after he took an unscheduled solo night flight from Glensford Airfield on the Isle of Mull in Argyll and Bute, Scotland, United Kingdom. Gibbs' uninjured but decomposed body was discovered without the plane on a hillside near the airfield 4 months later, but how and why he came to be there has never been established. All right. So Peter Gibbs. Norman Peter Gibbs, born in 1920, was a former Spitfire pilot with the number 41 Squadron RAF in the World War II. Serving between January 1944 and 1945. In 1954, 9 years after leaving the Royal Air Force Board, what did I just say? The Royal Air Force, Gibbs became a professional musician and joined the Philharmonia Orchestra and joined the London Symphony Orchestra 2 years later. Let's skip forward a little bit to the spooky disappearance. 1 second, please. All right, I might have to step out for a second. I got an Amazon package I am expecting. All right, back to the disappearance. On Saturday, 20th December 1975, Gibbs traveled via ferry to the Isle of Mull in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland, as he was interested in buying a hotel as an investment. Gibbs arrived on Mull with girlfriend Felicity Granger, a 32-year-old university lecturer. That's quite the name. Maybe it was more common back then. That is quite a unique name. The couple were using the Glensforsa Hotel on the edge of the Sound of Mull as their base. The hotel had its own 780-meter airstrip, Glensforsa Airfield, and they were using a plane to fly between the Inner Hebridean Islands. Glensforsa Airfield. Oh, wait. I got a call. 1 second. BRB. Back, hello. I need to put on some more spooky music. Let's see. Let me find something else. We're gonna be looking for some copyright spooky music or copyright free spooky music. Uh, hmm. It's a good website for this stuff. How does this sound? No. Nope. We need to find some mysterious music. Maybe this one. Nope. 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 No. Maybe I should have looked for some more music beforehand, but I've run out background music. Nope. Hmm. Let me look under a different tag. No. No, I don't want rock for the background music. I have an idea. Let me take the song that I was listening to earlier and just loop it. Alright, this will work. Next. Alright. On Saturday, 20th December 1975, Gibbs traveled via ferry to the Isle of Mull in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland, as he was interested in buying a hotel as an investment. Gibbs arrived on Mull with a girlfriend, Felicity Granger, 32-year-old university lecturer. The couple were using the Glens Forsa Hotel on the edges of the Sound of Mull as their base. The hotel had its own 780-meter airstrip, Glens Forsa Airfield, and they were using a plane to fly between the Inner Hebridean Islands. Glens Forsa Airfield was built by the Royal Engineers between May and August 1965 to act as the only fixed-wing air ambulance evacuation facility on Mull. The airstrip is grass and at that time had no runway lights. There's a picture of the runway and the airfield. I'm guessing that's the runway. Maybe that's it. Oh, maybe this is it? I don't know. I can't tell. What's the next picture? Oh, it's just the plane. Gibbs hired a Cessna aircraft from David Howitt. Here's the plane. The manager of the Glens Forsa Hotel. The plane was a Cessna F-150H. Registration mark GAVTN. Painted red and white. The Cessna had been owned by Ian Hamilton since September 1975 and was kept at North Connell Airport near Oban. Gibbs' private pilot's license had expired, but he told the owner of the plane that he had left his license behind. On the morning of the 24th of December 1975, Gibbs and Granger flew from Mull to Broadford on the Isle of Skye to spend the day viewing properties. They flew back to Mull and had dinner at the hotel that included whiskey and red wine. They had just finished dinner at the Glens Forsa Hotel when Gibbs decided to take a solo flight. Gibbs borrowed two powerful torches to use as landing lights for Granger to use to guide him. Some guests present stated that they thought they saw two people moving torches on the runway. Others observed that Gibbs appeared to have spent an unusually long time warming up the plane's engine. Gibbs was observed to turn the plane lights off, then on, then off again. He then took off from the unlit airfield on a moonless night, and after the plane disappeared behind a line of trees, he was never seen alive again. Hotel guests realized that Gibbs was intent on making a circuit, and rushed upstairs to the bar to watch the landing, as the airfield was almost never used at night. The guests turned the lights off in the bar to reduce internal reflections on the glass, and to get a better view of the night flight. Granger stood at the end of the runway holding the torches. After 10 minutes, Howitt began to worry, fearing that the Cessna had ditched, and went to try to find it. He drove the hotel's Ford Cortina through the driving sleet to try to find Gibbs. Howitt dipped the car's headlights to illuminate the water, but no trace of the plane was seen. An organized search was mounted, but no trace of Gibbs or the plane was found. The search was described as huge and extended over the Christmas holiday. Discovery of the body. In April 1976, 4 months after the disappearance, Gibbs' body was discovered by local shepherd. Sorry, I was checking the music. Donald McKinnon. The body was found lying partway up a remote hillside about 1 mile from the Glens Forsa airfield. The initial search for Gibbs had passed through this area at the time of the disappearance, but nothing had been found at the time. Gibbs' body was found lying across a fallen larch tree, 400 feet up the hillside, not far from the road. Due to the decomposition, the only thing holding the body together was the clothing. The body was facing north in a direction that indicated that Gibbs was walking downhill. The police had to cut a branch off the tree to remove the body. The body was taken to Glasgow for the post-mortem. Gibbs' remains gave no clues to his cause of death. Only minor injuries were found, and there was nothing to indicate a fall from a plane or any evidence that he had died in another place and was left on the tree. According to the pathologist's report, the condition of the body was entirely consistent with lying out there for a period of 4 months. Forensic tests that detected no salt or marine organisms in Gibbs' clothing or boots. In the absence of any other evidence, Gibbs' death was noted down by the pathologist as being due to exposure. The discovery of the body sent investigators looking for the plane on land, in woods, and dragging logs. No wreckage was found of the aircraft at the time. That is quite spooky. Where did the plane go? How did he get there? Possible discovery of the aircraft. In September 1986, it was claimed that Gibbs' plane had been found in the sea off Oban. A clam diver searching for scallops reported finding a small plane with both wings missing. In February 2004, minesweepers HMS Pembroke, HMS Penzance, and HMS Inverness were undertaking a coastal mapping operation in the waters off Oban and found a plane 30 meters beneath the surface. HMS Pembroke used a remote underwater camera to take pictures of the wreckage, which appeared to be of a small plane with one wing still attached, possibly Gibbs' Cessna. The wreckage was 200 to 300 meters off the coast at the bottom of the Sound of Mull, and it was reported that the windscreen was out and both doors were locked. The aircraft yielded no clues as to how it came to be there. The propeller, cylinders, and crankshaft from the aircraft were recovered by a scallop dredger from the Sound of Mull in 2021 and presented to Brendan Walsh, the owner of the Glens Forsa Hotel Mull and operator of the Glens Forsa Airfield. You know, that's quite spooky. It's reported that the windscreen was out and both doors were locked. How did he get out of the plane? What happened? How did he get there with no evidence of any salt or marine organisms? How did the plane get there? How did he get over where he was? This is quite spooky. Let's see if I can find anything else about the Great Mull Air Mystery. I think it's more or less the same information that we just found. Alright, here is a theory from someone from Reddit. This actually seems pretty straightforward. Drunk man flies planes at night, becomes disoriented, can't find the runway, / find his way back. It's not like there was radar and ATC. Dude was relying on bright flashlights in an otherwise dark field. Eventually the plane has to land, and the pilot attempts a water landing. Manages to land without dying, but gets thoroughly soaked getting back to shore. The ocean around Scotland is quite cold, and it's December, so the air is equally frigid. So he simply freezes to death walking in the countryside, trying to get home. I mean, that is probably like, you know what's that theory where like the most simple explanation is probably the explanation. So that's probably what happened, but I don't know. They said that there was no evidence of like salt on him or like any marine life on him. Like, it doesn't seem like he was in the water before they found his body. And I mean, they also said that the plane's doors and stuff were still intact and locked. So how did he like get out of the plane and leave the doors locked and stuff too? Although this person said that the plane that they found in 2004 was later confirmed to be from World War II and not the plane. But was this... Was that what they found? I mean, they recovered a part of the plane and gave it back to the owner, so I mean, surely the owner must have known if it was part of the plane or not. I mean, it probably was just that, you know, the guy got drunk and couldn't land the plane. That's probably it, honestly. You know, that's the spookiest thing we've gotten so far, but it's not very spooky, so I'm gonna give it a 3 spooky. Let me check if my Amazon stuff got delivered yet. Not yet, but should be very soon. Alright, let's scroll down and look for another mystery. The vanishing hotel room. Alright, this sounds good. This sounds like the usual nice spooky story. It's a lot of words. Maybe we can just read the first part. All right. All right. Back to reading about a new mystery. This one sounds promising. It also sounds like a very generic urban legend spooky story, but I kind of like those. Let's find some more spooky music to loop for this one. Let's see. Okay, let's do this one. Things I Could Have Said by Adam McDougall. Things I Could Have Said. Adam McDougall. Alright. The Vanishing Hotel Room, a true urban legend. Near the turn of the century, a distraught young woman rushed into the British Embassy in Paris. She and her mother were on their way home, and owing to the shortage of accommodations in the crowded city, had taken 2 single rooms in a hotel. The mother chose room 342, decorated with rose-strewn wallpaper and plum-colored velvet curtains. Then the older woman collapsed on the bed. The daughter summoned a house doctor. After examining the ill guest and talking excitedly in French with the hotel manager, the house doctor told the young woman that her mother was seriously ill and must have some medicine. The proper medication could be found only in his office on the other side of town. The daughter would have to go with him in his carriage to retrieve the medication, which should have been a simple errand, consumed what seemed like hours. The driver kept the horses to an amble and seemed to steer in circles. The doctor took a long time to find the medicine. Finally, the frustrated daughter arrived back at the hotel, only to discover that all the queries about her mother were met with blank stares. "I know nothing of your mother," said the manager. "You arrived here alone." The doctors were similarly confused by the woman's questions. Frantic now, the younger woman examined the hotel register. Instead of her mother's familiar signature, she saw strangers besides room 342. Insisting on looking at the room itself, she found no velvet curtain, no flowered wallpaper, and no familiar baggage, only the luggage of strangers. That's quite spooky. That was quite spooky. Honestly, I've never heard of this story before. Sometimes called the Vanishing Lady, and sometimes called the Vanishing Hotel Room, there have been many versions of the story throughout the years. As a kid, I remember hearing the story from one of the collections of creepy storybooks. It was spooky enough, and it had always fascinated me. Now, with the COVID pandemic currently ongoing, I was reminded of this old story and wondered again, was this story true? Was this story just a persistent urban legend? I'm not reading all this, but let's see if we can find some more stuff about this story. I quite like it. It's the most spooky story of today. Bam! Found a Wikipedia on it. Let's see. Origin. According to the Quote Investigator website and urban legend researcher Bonnie Taylor Blake, the author of the earliest known instance of the legend was Nancy Vincent McClelland, who wrote a version in an article titled A Mystery of the Paris Exposition in the Philadelphia Inquirer of November 14, 1897. In this version, at the end, the daughter is told the truth by a French policeman about her mother's death from the disease. The Quote Investigator and Taylor Blake also found a version of the legend run in the Detroit Free Press in 1898 titled Porch Tales: The Disappearance of Miss Neebe, written by Kenneth Herford. It is theorized that Kenneth Herford was a pen name for Carl Harriman. So it was just a spooky legend after all. Probably. I mean, this does sound like typical, OG creepypasta, ancient creepypasta, this seems like part of the course for that kind of stuff. But I quite liked it. For spooky. Sorry, I just had a bit of a coughing, choking fit. But I quite like that story. For spooky. Let's see if we can find a 5 spooky. So what was that one we just read? The Vanishing Hotel Room. Oh. Where was it? What color was it? Oh, it was this. What color is that? Deaths and disappearances. Well, it's probably a solved mystery, because it probably was never a mystery. It's just a story. Let's go down. The Night Cat Incident. Sure. Okay, that's a sketchy website. Let's not go to that one. Let me just scroll all the way down. The images on the right are, oh my gosh, kind of spooky. Let's see what this is about. What's this? Hyper finality. You know, that's too much. Let's scroll up a little bit. Let's look for the gray stories. Or the gray unsolved mysteries. Let's do Serial Killer Cave, Point Pleasant. Oh. Can't find it. That might have been it. Let's keep looking. Unexplained deep sea facility disappearances. Okay. That sounds good. Maybe we can find a good story from here. Let's go for this one. The Freedon. Alright, let's see. The crew of the Freedon. 1 second again. Got a cough. All right. The case. The Freedon was an 82-foot tramp freighter that carried its 28-year-old captain, Florian Mayer Borch, 23-year-old journalism student Lisa Bishop, and a crew of 7 Haitians. Lisa was planning on writing a story about the World Bank and the economic contrast between the United States and Haiti. All right. 1 second, please. All right. The Frieden was a 82-foot tramp freighter that carried its 28-year-old captain, Florian Mayer Borch, 23-year-old journalism student Lisa Bishop, and a crew of 7 Haitians. Lisa was planning on writing a story about the World Bank and the economic contrast between the United States and Haiti. Lisa met Mayer Borch at the Metroplex Club in Atlanta, Georgia, which was owned by her boyfriend of 3 years, Paul Cornwell. Lisa worked there as a manager of the bar. Mayer Borch told Lisa about the trip around the Caribbean to Haiti and asked her if she wanted to go. She accepted. Paul was upset when she told him about their trip. However, she claimed that there was nothing romantic between her and Mayer Borch. Mayer Borch. The ship sailed from Miami at around 2:30 p.m. on December 17, 1988, but it never arrived at Gonaives, Haiti. When Lisa did not call Paul or her parents on Christmas Day, they became concerned. They, along with the family members of the other crew members, contacted the United States Coast Guard. The Coast Guard searched for the freighter for several days, but no trace of it was found. However, in April 1989, an underwater salvager named Bob Nyberg read an article about the Frieden and realized that he had seen a ship in the Georgetown harbor on Grand Cayman Island over 500 miles from Haiti, and 2 weeks after it was reported missing. It is unknown where the ship went after Bob's sighting, but it gave the Bishops hope that Lisa was still alive. In May 1989, Paul Cornwell and Bob Nyberg went to the Grand Cayman and found that Florian Mayer Borch was reported to be seen alive at around the time of Nyberg's sightings, and it was in the company of an unidentified man. When Paul returned to Miami, he went to visit a woman who had been storing Mayer Borch's personal belongings. The woman suggested the man seen with Mayer Borch could be a man named Felipe from Haiti who had chartered the Frieden. The woman said that Felipe may have been involved in smuggling operations. Before Bob and Paul could investigate further, Mayer Borch was gone again. There had been heavy speculation that Mayer Borch and possibly Felipe could be involved in smuggling. Mayer Borch is still wanted for questioning in Lisa's whereabouts. The Bishops still hope that one day they'll find their daughter and find out what happened to her. The whereabouts of Lisa Bishop, Florian Mayer Borch, and the other crew members remain unknown. Suspects. Florian Mayer Borch is considered a possible suspect in Lisa's disappearance, along with the disappearances of other crew members. Felipe may also be involved in the disappearances. Results. Unsolved. There have been several reported sightings of the Frieden over the years. However, none of these sightings have ever been confirmed. Family members of the Haitian crew members have stated that they have not heard from the crew since 1988. Florian Mayer Borch's parents have also said they have not heard from him since 1988. Although this suggests that the Frieden may have actually sank and no trace of it has actually been found. I mean, that's kind of crazy, honestly. Like, how big is like a freight boat? Maybe I can find a better picture of the Frieden. The Frieden. I mean, it looks like this is the best possible picture because everything else is Star Wars for some reason. I don't know, but it seems like, you know, it's quite a sizable boat. I feel like it has to be for it to be a freighter boat. Like, how big do freighter boats usually look? I mean, that's quite large. But even if it was like 19, however, what was the story take place in 1988? Like, it was still a pretty sizable boat, I would say. And for it to just like disappear out of nowhere, like, that's pretty crazy. Like, if it did sink, like, that's one thing. But if it didn't sink and it was, you know, let's see, Florian Meyer Borch, it was, you know, his doing. How do you just, you know, hide your boat out there like that? Like, it would be very, very easily seen. I mean, and there was one possible sighting of it, but that's also like, it's only a possible sighting, and it could not have been like, it could have been not the actual boat, but if it was, like, where the hell did it go? Because like, where the hell do you hide a boat if not under the ocean? I mean, that's pretty spooky. Disappearing boats, disappearing anything, you know, disappearing people, disappearing planes, disappearing boats. It's all very spooky. The ocean is very spooky. I give this story a 4 spooky. I'm still have not seen anything that is 5 spooky, but this is, again, it's quite spooky. So that has been the stream. I think that's enough for today. But that has been looking through the Obscure Unsolved Mysteries iceberg. A lot of unsolved mysteries here. A lot of them were not spooky, but a lot of these are probably pretty spooky. I mean, they don't have to be spooky, they're just unsolved mysteries. So, and a lot of these are also just conspiracy theories, and sometimes those are also not very spooky, but just kind of crazy. All right, that has been the stream for today. I'm going to head out. Bye bye.